And now we're working on step 7. We've gotten these files open and we've added a couple of rules already into the header. Now we're formatting the main element in the footer. Number 7, add a style rule for the H elements within the main element. So I'm going to come down here to within the main element, set a style rule on the H1 element. Okay, so that's H1 elements inside the main. Perfect. It sets the font size to 150%. Another rule, style rule for the H2 elements within the main. So what would happen here if I set just the H2, either in this header H2, well, in the header H2 and also down here in the H2, it wouldn't make it look different in the header. I want my header H2 to look different than the H2s that are down in the main. So keep the specificity in mind, that we want to be as specific as possible. So the H2s within the main needs to be font size 130. Oops. Colon. There we go. And my color to be same color, but I don't want, need that text indent on it. Okay, that looks good. Looks like my H2s have changed color and size a little bit. A style rule for the H3 elements within the main element. H3. In the H3s, I want the font size to be very slightly bigger than the rest of the text. 105, and then add a style rule that italicizes any link that has the focus or has the mouse hovering over it. So this is any link. This would be in the header or in the main. Right now, our only links are in the main, though. All of our links are this Jeffrey Toobin, Andrew Ross Sorkin, and Amy Chua. And we need to use a style rule that italicizes any link that has the focus or has the mouse hovering over it. Let's go find, I didn't hold out what page. There it is, on page 141, it talks about common CSS pseudo classes. And this one in particular, we want to use the hover and the focus. So whether the link receives the focus from hovering the mouse over it or from getting focus from using the keyboard to maneuver around, we're going to make that italicized. So we're going to add a style rule for the A's with focus and the A's that are hovered. And we're going to make on those the font size, the font style to be italic. Now let's test this. Ooh, good. If I hover over one of those links, it italicizes it. Perfect. Basically just showing me that I'm on that link. Good. And then add a style rule that centers the P tag in the footer. So let's come down to the styles for the footer, and the P tag in the footer P It's text align center. And that just centered the copyright line. That's 7 through 11. After that, we're looking at these styles that we just set in the Chrome DevTools. So I'm going to come over here to Chrome and open up the DevTools. Control-Shift-I or F12. And expand the main element in the Elements pane and click on one of the H2 elements. So I need to give myself a little bit more space here. Let's get rid of that too. Okay. So in the main, I'm looking for one of the H2s. That's a fine one. There are 2 different H2s, but it said just pick one of them. And notice the font family style for the HTML in the normalized style sheet is overwritten by the font family. See, in the normalized.css line 9, it has a rule for the font family to be sans serif, but that's overwritten by my main.css on line 2 has a rule about the font family. Notice how that's overwritten? The same thing with the font size has been overwritten. The font size in body being 100 has been overwritten by, well, and the H2 font size 1.5 centimeters. No, 1.5 M. Sorry, that's not a C. Centimeters isn't something that we use as a size here. 1.5 M. The font size that overwrites both of those is the one that is most specific and is found in the later file. So the second link that we had was to the main.css, so that overwrites the others. Also, this main H2 is more specific than the H2 and is more specific than the body. So the main H2 gets preference, is more important, is the one that is shown and used. And all right, and you can do the same thing with the H2 that's shown. I'm sorry, I'm going to right click on the San Joaquin Valley Town Hall and inspect. And that's one way that you can get to that. You can also click the icon in the Developer Tools toolbar that has a square with an arrow pointing to it, this one right there, that you can select an element. So if I click on that and then click on the San Joaquin Valley Town Hall, that H2 in the header, then I'll be able to see the rules for it. And similarly, it had some font sizes that are overwritten by another one, font family, that's overwritten and cascading. And then we can close this. And then the last thing is to create a text shadow. I'll be back in just a minute with that.